You spend 2 hours rewriting that document. You hit save, and that's when you realize you just saved over the only good version. No problem, you say. Well, it's in the cloud. I've been using the cloud for 5 years. So you right-click again, you open the version history, and the list is shockingly empty. I put 23 cloud services through exactly this moment. Some kept every version forever. One of them kept really nothing at all, and you might be using it without even knowing the risk. So I've been testing cloud storage here at CloudWords for almost 2 decades now. Well, that kind of dates me, I know. And honestly, this is the feature everybody assumes works for all services in the same way. And it really doesn't, not even close. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how your cloud's version control works and whether or not you need to switch to a different provider for better protection for these duh moments when you accidentally save a file that you didn't want to save. So here's the plan for this video. First, I'll clear up essentially 2 things that wreck this for everyone. And then I'll run all 23 services from the worst to essentially the best, scoring every one on the 4 same things. And those are how many versions it keeps, how long it keeps them, and what it costs to extend the window, and how painful the actual restore is of that version history. And I'll show you exactly how you get an old version back on the ones worth using, including the traps that stop the restore dead. Stick around to the end because there's one trap that catches almost everybody, and once you see it, you'll want to check your own account that same day, and I'll show you exactly which providers do it. Now, the full version history chart for all 23 services is obviously in the description box below, so you can grab that and follow along, and then obviously choose the best provider for your needs. All right, 2 things that trip up everyone, essentially. And get these, and you're already essentially ahead of, I would say, 99% of the people. Now, first one, sync storage and online backup keep your old versions completely differently. A synchronization service, like for example, Dropbox or Google Drive, quietly holds on to prior copies as you edit, but it caps that by a time window or a version count. A backup product, like for example, a Backblaze or a CrashPlan, keeps a deep archive because that's the whole point of having a backup, right? So you'd assume backup always wins, right? Let me tell you, it really doesn't. Some backup products keep essentially a worse version history than a basic sync app, and I'll show you a couple that, yeah, truly shocked me. The second one, and this is probably the big one, rolling back an edited file is not the same as recovering a deleted file. So these are essentially 2 different features and 2 different time clocks, if you will. Version history is for when you overwrote your file and you want the older one back. And deleted file recovery is essentially the recycle bin. You trashed the whole file because, well, whatever. You filed a tax report, right? But then, oh no, the tax man is coming and wants to do an audit, right? So you gotta undelete that. Providers, they like to smoosh all of these together on purpose. So do a lot of you in my comments, and I see the confusion, and that's why I want to do this video today. So let's start at the absolute bottom. The services that keep no real version history at all. First, let's look at NordLocker, right? I think NordLocker has great encryption, no question about that, but 0 versioning, I mean, no matter what plan you choose, the usual explanation you'll hear is that NordLocker is 0 knowledge, which just means Nord literally can see your files, so can stash old copies of them. That sounds reasonable, right? Well, not really, because as you'll see later in the video, there's a ton of services that are both 0 knowledge and offer version control. Next up, we got Degoo. And this one really annoys me because Degoo's markets a recycle bin like it's version history. But like I already told you, it really isn't. Now, if you overwrite a file and the original is gone, that's the truth. Permanently, a recycle bin saves deleted files, not edited ones. And that's the catch. And finally, the service that statistically probably around 1/3 of you watching are currently using is iCloud. Now, the mainstream giant millions of you are sitting on right now, iCloud has no real cloud version history on any tier at any price. None, essentially. I mean, you get 30-day deleted file recovery, but I mean, that's about it. Instead, iCloud relies on local versioning on macOS. But here's the thing, it doesn't sync. So if you saved over a file on your phone, Apple's essentially keeping nothing for you in the cloud. And honestly, all the clouds I've tested over the years, this one surprised me essentially the most. You'd really expect a giant like Apple to at least offer like something, right? Something that I could buy. Shut up and take my my money. Yeah, this is the weakest mainstream player, this whole lineup. And if you've been assuming iCloud has your back here, yeah, it really doesn't, unfortunately. Okay, so let's move on to the next group because, I mean, it's going to be a longer video. You know that's before, but we got to keep cycling through, right? So these services, they do have version history, but with pretty strict limitations. They'll work for quickly undoing a mistake, but they don't offer any kind of, I would say, long-term security. I want to start with a cluster of services that all stop you cold at about 5 versions, because once you see them back to back, the pattern really jumps out. First up, we got Kufer that keeps just 5 versions per file, and among the stingiest of the mainstream services, I think. And it gets even worse. I mean, files bigger than 5 gigabytes, they aren't versioned at all. So your big project files, the exact ones you might be panicking about, they get essentially nothing in terms of versioning. Then there's iCloud, which has the same 5 version wall. And this one proves my earlier point. It's a backup product where deep history is supposed to be the whole reason you bought it, and it still caps you at a fixed 5 versions you cannot raise. Now, a backup tool with a 5 version cap, honestly, I mean, that one still gets me. Yeah, I mean, there are other advantages to using iCloud, but versioning, capping it at 5 is a little stingy. All right, OpenDrive runs on the same count-based idea, but it earns its spot here for, I would say, 2 reasons. First, the free 5 gigabyte tier gets 0 versioning, nothing at all. And second, out of the box, it only keeps your last 10 versions per file. Now you can crank that up to 99 in the settings, sure, but most people, I mean, never touch it. You really have to dig into the menu to find it. So they're living on essentially 10 versions and might be running into big trouble a year down the line. Bigger problem though is actually getting a version back. There is no like one-click restore, and let me show you exactly what I mean, right? So watch this. I right-click my file and I open versions right here. The list of saved options, now they show up. Now here's the catch. I pick the version I want, and instead of restoring it, OpenDrive just downloads the old copy to my computer, like this. So now it's sitting in my downloads folder doing essentially, well, nothing at all. To actually make it live again, I have to drag it back up and re-upload it myself. That's the whole restore. And personally, very cumbersome. I don't like that at all. And we'll come back to that download, then re-upload process a little bit later, because in my book, it's a real trap, and soon you'll know why. And rounding out the 5 version club, there is SugarSync. It keeps your last 5 versions per file, and you can bump that to 12 if you drop the file into what SugarSync calls a protected folder. And that's essentially just a special folder that holds onto more copies for you, but it's a hard cap either way. There's no add-on to buy more. There's no free plan at all, only a trial. So a file you're hammering on all day can burn through those 5 versions before lunch, and the oldest one you actually wanted is, yeah, pretty much already gone. And here is a second backup product that lands down here just for a different reason. Carbonite. It looks like a proper backup at first. I mean, you get 12 versions per file, with at least 3 of them kept forever, which sounds great, but Carbonite thins out its history as it ages. So after about 90 days, the older save points start getting deleted. And the further back you go, the bigger the gaps get. So you don't get 12 evenly spaced snapshots, you get a few recent ones, and then big holes, right? So the real usable history is way shallower than 12 versions makes it sound. Its restore download is also painfully slow, and that's what we've been seeing with Carbonite essentially forever. So hold that thought for now, because we got to go on to something a little different, which is Internext actually just added version history earlier this year. So hopefully the strict limits here are just a, let's say, temporary thing. But what strict limits, you ask? Well, the window's not terrible. We got 15 days on premium plans and 30 days on the ultimate plans. But here's the thing. It only works on PDFs, Word documents, spreadsheets, and CSV files. And on top of that, there's a 10 to 20 megabyte files as a limit depending on your plan, and you're capped to 10 to 20 versions. And the part that really stings, the restore is destructive. So let me show you exactly what that means, because it can be quite brutal. So look at this. I open the files version list right here, and there are a few older copies saved. I pick the one I want, and then I hit restore like this, and now watch what happens to the rest. That old version replaces my current file. Fine, but every other version in the list just got wiped. See that? Gone. So you can't roll back and then, oh, I changed my mind, because there's nothing left to change your mind to. Damn. So this is something that can really trip you up. Now, the save move is to download the old copy first before you ever touch that restore button. So best of this whole group, though, is Icedrive. So let me close on it. Now, the free plan has no versioning at all, so that's essentially out. You can forget about that. But even the cheapest paid plan does something the rest of this group doesn't. The base pro plan gives you a 30-day window, which is the same window you will see all over the next group. The thing holding it back is the so-called version count. Only 25 on that base plan. And step it up and it scales nicely though. So 60 days and 50 versions on Pro Plus, and a really good 90 days and 100 versions on the Pro Max plan. So the cheapest Icedrive plan is a bit restrictive, but Pro Max is proper, usable version history like I wanted in my book. That's I would say, the bare minimum group out of the way. The numbers are all on the chart, so check that out in the description box below, so you don't have to keep all of this in your head and you can follow along at your own pace whenever you want to. So go ahead and grab that in the description box. Now, before we get into the mainstream stuff, there's a quick favor. If this is really helping you sort through the mess of cloud storage services so far, it really helps me if you could go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel, because that motivates me a lot to keep going and do these kind of deep dives into specific cloud storage features that the mainstream probably will not cover. Okay. Let's get back to it now. Here is the tier most of you are actually on, the 30-day club. I'd say this is pretty much the industry baseline, but there are traps hiding inside that 30 days you'll definitely want to know about. Now, Dropbox first, because I would say it does this cleanest 30 days of history on free and plus, and it goes deeper on the paid tiers, which I'll get to in a second. And on top of that, the restart process is the smoothest of any mainstream service. And let me show you exactly what that looks like. Now watch this. I right-click the file and open version history like this, and a list of every saved state pops up right here with dates. Now, if I'm not sure which version I want, I can use this preview button here to see what it exactly looked like this. Now, I know this is the one I want, essentially. So I'll go back and click Restore right here, and bam, the file is back to how it was. Life saved, right? Now, here's a catch worth knowing, because it trips up a lot of people. Paying Dropbox for more storage does not automatically buy you more history. The cheap Plus and family plans get the exact 30-day window as the free account. You don't get a longer window until the pricier professional tiers, which bumps you up to full 180 days. And there's a second tool on Dropbox a lot of people never find, and this one's really worth seeing. It's called Rewind. And on paid plans, it rolls your whole account or just one folder back to how it looked on any day inside your history window. And let me show you. I head into all files up here. I click the settings gear to a folder, and then I pick Rewind this folder right here. Now, I drag this little timeline back to a date last week, and watch this. Dropbox shows me everything as it stood that day. Then I hit restore, and the whole folder, it essentially snaps back. So edits, deletes, essentially, yeah, all of it. And as you can see, there it is. It uses the same window as your regular version history. So 30 days on Plus and up to a year on the top tier plan. So that's per file restore for every day, oops, and the whole account rollback for when things really go sideways and you need to restore a lot of files. And that clean Dropbox experience makes the next one sting particularly badly. Google Drive has a bit of a, I would say, like a dual personality on this issue. It's the single biggest trap, essentially, in this whole group. So here's the deal with Google. Native Google files, and those are essentially your docs, your sheets, your slides, that kind of thing. I mean, those get unlimited version history. Great, right? So don't worry about it. But anything you uploaded, a PDF, a photo, a video, project files, those only get 30 days and a completely different, much worse interface. And there's one more thing to flag here, and it's the first time it really matters in this video. On Google Drive, those uploaded file versions, they count against your storage quota. Native docs, they don't, but your binary files do, so a heavily edited file is like quietly eating up your space. So keep that in the back of your mind because it comes up again later. And let me show you the dual interface difference because honestly, it's a bit wild. So look at this. First, I open a native doc and go to File, then Version History. and then see version history up here. And as you can see, I got this long list of versions going back essentially years and years. I mean, there's probably hundreds of versions here, right? And if I click one like this, Google helpfully shows me what was changed in that version. So if I want to restore, I just pick an old one and hit restore this version like this. Pretty easy, right? Now, watch what happens with an uploaded file. So I select this PDF, I click the 3 dots and choose Manage Versions. And see that? There is no restore button, none. All I can do is download the old copy like this and then re-upload it later myself to make it the current version. It's the same app, it's 2 totally different worlds depending on the file. And I understand that this is super confusing, but it's just something that you gotta know when you work on it on a daily basis. OneDrive does the, I would say, everyday case pretty well, and then has a second tool that's honestly my favorite for this day ransomware hits, right? And ransomware is a deal. I mean, companies, organizations, they get hit every day. So start with a regular file restore because it's essentially right there and you don't even need to paid plan for it. And I just wanted to show you so you get a good overview of how OneDrive does this. Look at this here. I right-click any file like this and open version history right here. Then up pops the list and you can restore any of your last 25 saved copies. I pick one, hit restore like so, and the file is back. Done, right? It works fine, but notice there's no easy way to preview these first. So you're kind of guessing which of the 25 is the one that you actually want, right? So that's regular file versioning. But the tool I'd actually reach for in a crisis is called Restore Your OneDrive. And instead of fixing one file, it rolls your whole account back to how it looked on a past day. Totally different move from those per file restores, but there's a catch. You need a Microsoft 365 subscription to use it. Now, if you like the idea of an account-wide rollback, you'll like this next one because it gives you 2 recovery tools instead of 1. Which provider am I talking about? Yeah, I'm talking about a very popular one, and that's Mega. It keeps 100 versions per file on every plan, which is a pretty solid count right off the bat. And even better, it also uses smart pruning that holds onto the oldest and the newest versions, even if you go over the limit. But here's the part people often mix together. Mega gives you 2 separate recovery tools in one account, and they don't do the same job. And let me show you both, because picking the wrong one here, it really wastes your time. Now check this out. First, let's test the per file tool. I right-click a file, then I go into Manage and pick Manage Versions right here. And the whole stack of saved copies opens up. Now, I can easily preview a version by clicking here like this, or I pick one and I restore it like so. And that's it. Now, for the other tool, I go back to my Mega dashboard and right-click this folder, right? And select Rewind. Now, I just pick a date on this calendar and watch. Mega shows the entire folder as it looked that day. Not one file, but everything. So the free window for this is 30 days and paid plans push that up to 60 days. And that is the 30-day club. A month of history sounds fine until you realize, well, a month is the ceiling, not the floor, because the next group, they keep your stuff for months, years even. Now, quick break, because this is the kind of thing that changes between videos. I mean, windows shift, prices move, providers quietly nerf a free tier, and if you want to stay current on this stuff between my videos, I'll drop my newsletter, which is the link in the description box below. It's where I send the updates first, and obviously it's totally free for you guys. Now we're essentially in the good stuff, and this is the tier where you can actually get an old version back months or even years later, and either the count never expires by age, or you pick a very, very long window yourself. And here pCloud leads it off. It's got one of the most complete recovery setups you'll find in sync storage, essentially. There are 3 separate layers. There is the per file revisions, there is deleted files in the trash, and then there is a whole account rewind that rolls your folders back to a date you pick. Let me show you both the layers that, for me, in my opinion, matter the most, starting with the everyday one. And here's what it looks like. First, the daily use tool. I right-click a file, and then I pick revisions right here. And the list of previous saved states, they open up. Each one is restorable on its own. And if it's a text file like this one, I can click this button here to open the revision directly in pCloud Docs, like so. And if I go back out to the files and right-click this image instead, then revisions, now you can see there's a preview button instead. To restore, I simply find the version I want, click the 3 dots here, and then I hit revert to replace the current file or restore as a new file if I essentially want to have both. Now, pCloud's version control covers free accounts for 15 days and bumps that to 30 days on paid. And there's also an add-on to increase this essentially all the way to a full year, but that's going to run you roughly $40 a year extra. I actually went deep on extended file history in my full pCloud review. So if you really want to have the nitty-gritty, I mean, the link is as usual up here so you can watch the pCloud review and see if it's a provider that you might fancy. Finally, there is pCloud Rewind, which is essentially like time travel for your entire account. And let me show you. I open Rewind and pick a date from last week right here on the calendar. I hit Rewind and watch. The entire folder snaps back to exactly how it looked that day. Files I'd since changed, the old versions, everything is there. Files I deleted, they're back. As you can see, it's not picking one file, it's rewinding the whole account to a moment in time like a time capsule. Sync.com is next and works a lot like pCloud. There is no cap on how many versions it keeps, just a time window, right? Where it really pulls ahead is the window length. On the standard individual plans, you're looking at 60 to 90 days, and the top individual plan stretches that to 180. Business plans shoot this up to a full year, but obviously they're a bit more expensive. And there's one more thing worth calling out. Remember that storage quota problem we kept running into where your versions quietly eat your space? Now, Sync.com just doesn't do that. Your versions sit completely off your quota, no add-on, no fine print. So 50 saved copies of a 100 megabyte document don't silently chew through 5 gigabytes of your plan the way they would on Box, for example, or on Google Drive's uploaded files, or on Filen later on. Now, to be fair, I mean, Sync.com isn't alone here. Dropbox keeps versions off your quota too, and so does iDrive. But pairing that with no version cap and a window this long is what makes Sync.com truly stand out for me. And speaking of plans and pricing, let me save you a little money, I would say, before we go further. I've tracked down the best current deals for the providers in this video, and the link are, as always, in the description box below, and I keep those updated, so no matter when you're watching this video, you get the best price possible for each and every provider in this list. Okay. Now, back to the lineup. Box is the model you want if you need something from, I'd say, years back. And the reason is the one thing it does that almost no one else does. Box keeps a set number of versions per file, and on most plans, that's 10 versions on Pro, up to 50 on Business, and 100 on Enterprise, and unlimited at the very top. Now, the magic is that those versions never expire by age. A version from 5 years ago survives as long as you haven't filled up those slots. Time doesn't delete it. Only running out of slots does. So let me show you because it teaches you exactly how this model works. Now watch this one. I open the files version history over here. Now the full stack of saved copies with dates, beautiful. Now on the others, you like roll back and essentially lose what came after. Box doesn't. So I pick the version from 3 years ago and click Make Current right here. See what happens? That old one jumps to the top as the live file, and the newer ones are all still in the list underneath. Nothing got thrown away. Now, Tresorit runs on that same never expire by age model as Box, and that's exactly why it's up here. The number of versions it keeps climbs as you pay more. 5 on the entry plan, 10 on the next one, 25 on the Pro plan, and 100 on Business, all the way to unlimited on the top Business tiers. And as long as you haven't filled those slots, a copy from years ago is still sitting there waiting for you to be restored. Time alone never deletes it. Now, one big catch you need to hear, the free plan gives you no version history at all. None. So this is a paid-only pick. But if you are paying, and especially if you want all that history end-to-end encrypted, meaning Tresorit itself can't read your files, then it's truly one of the strongest options in this whole video. iDrive earns its spot here, and the reason is the thing people miss when they hear 30 versions and assume it's a little bit shallow. Those 30 versions never expire by age, and there's no clock counting down, so the oldest copy only drops off when a 31st one pushes it out. A file you barely touch can hold a version from years back, and it's free on every plan, including the free 10 gigabyte one, and none of it counts against your storage quota. But the real reason it's up here in the good group is the feature a lot of you keep asking for in my comments. It's point-in-time recovery. That just means you pick a specific date and iDrive rebuilds your files exactly as they were that day. Let me show you snapshots. I open the snapshots view and pick a date from before, say a ransomware hit, which sadly happens, and iDrive restores the whole state as it existed on that day, even stuff older than most recent 30 versions. I hit restore over here, and then it pulls back the exact point in time, not just the last few edits, and boom. That's the restore to a specific day, not everything I ever deleted answer a lot of you wanted. Speaking of doing a restore the safe way, ProtonDrive earns its spot for one nuance most people miss. Paid users pick their own window up to 10 years and up to 200 versions. But here's a part worth seeing. The restore is non-destructive, which just means the version you're sitting on right now doesn't get erased when you roll back to an older one. It's still in the list. And let me show you exactly why that matters, because it's important to wrap your head around this. I should mention that the free tier's shallow by comparison. You get 10 versions for just 7 days, whichever runs out first. Okay, so look at this. I right-click the file like so and open versions right here. Today's copy and one from last month. I restore the old one and watch what does not happen. Today's version does not vanish. It's still sitting right there in the list. So if I pick the wrong one, I just roll forward again, just like that. And that's the, I would call it generous group. Months, years, point in time, real recovery, but there's one more tier above this, the one that essentially keep everything. And that's our forever tier. Unlimited forever. Yay, that sounds great, right? And here it is, the top. The services that keep every version effectively forever, or with backup grade depth most people have never seen. And this is where I pay off the big one from the start, the service that kept everything even free. It's called Filen. Unlimited versions, kept forever, end-to-end encrypted, and exactly the same on the free 10 gigabyte plan as on the paid. End-to-end encrypted means the provider can't read your files, and Filen pulls that off while still keeping every single version forever. There's no countdown and no slot cap on free or paid. And let me show you the free version list. Check this out. This is a free account, by the way. I right-click a file I've edited a bunch of times, and I pick versions right here. And look at this list. It just keeps on growing. It keeps on accumulating. There's no cap number, no 15-day countdown, no 30-day countdown. Every single version I ever saved sitting right here for me to restore. And look at the scroll bar down here. It barely moves. I mean, the list just keeps on going, version after version after version after version. And there it is. The thing the giant at the bottom of this video couldn't really give you, look at this tiny little free plan. It truly does. Now, in fairness, I mean, Filen was the slowest uploader in my last speed round, so it's really not perfect and certainly not for everyone. And here's the disadvantage that essentially matters most, especially on a limited free plan. Every version counts against your storage space. There's no auto prune, so to free room, you delete old versions yourself. And on 10 gigabyte free plan, if you heavily edited big files, I mean, they can fill up faster than you'd actually think. But for like keeping your history, I mean, nobody beats it. And if free storage is what you're after in general, I ranked the best free tiers up here in this video too, so you can check that one out. All right, CrashPlan is the backup answer at this level, and it's a different beast entirely. Instead of a flat window, it keeps a version every 15 minutes for the past week. 15 minutes. And it does true point-in-time restore. And let me show you the thing that you've asked me in the comments specifically, so I'm going to demo that here on the account. All right, look at this. I open the as of calendar and pick a past date right here. And CrashPlan rebuilds my entire archive exactly as it existed that day. I drill into it this morning, and there is a safe version every 15 minutes all sitting right here. I pick the moment I want, and I restore it. Like this, and there we go. And here's why those 50 minutes matter. If ransomware hits at, say, 9 a.m. and ran for 3 hours, you can roll back to 8:45 right before it touched anything. A flat 30-day window can't do that. It only knows 30 days ago, not 8:45 this morning. And that's essentially the gold standard. And the last hero up here surprised a lot of people because it's a backup product that gets sometimes a bad reputation, and that is Backblaze. And now, here's the myth I have to bust first. The default out of the box is only 30 days. not the year everybody assumes a backup tool gives you, but you can extend that to a full year for free. And that's where it gets good, because there's also a paid forever option that keeps every single version of your files for about half a penny per gigabyte a month. A year of version history costs you nothing, and keeping everything forever costs you, well, essentially pennies. And one thing to know, essentially going into Backblaze, those extensions aren't retroactive. So flip them on the day you sign up, not the day you need them. Do that, and Backblaze is generally one of the best value ways to never lose a version. Okay, now the part I promised, the traps that stop a restore from working even when the feature's there, because knowing a service keeps versions is useless if you can't actually get them back. And here's the big one I teased at the start. It's the one that catches to almost everybody. Turning on a longer version history does not recover your past. I mean, you upgrade Backblaze to a year, or buy Dropbox's add-on, or turn on pCloud's extended file version history, and you assume you're covered for files from 6 months ago. You're not. These extensions aren't retroactive, which just means they only protect what changes after you flip the switch, after you paid the bill. The stuff already aged out, well, that is still gone. So turn the longer window on the day you sign up, not the day essentially disaster hits, to prepare that. Then the download, then re-upload trap. On Google Drive's uploaded files, on OpenDrive and on Icedrive, the restore, doesn't put the old version back for you. You download the old copy and re-upload it yourself. It sounds minor, but at 3 in the morning, when you need that file, it's friction you really didn't budget for. Then a kind of general principle about backup tools specifically, and it's one straight from your comments. A backup tool runs on 2 separate clocks, not one. There's the version clock, how long it keeps old versions, and there's a totally separate reconnect clock, like how long it keeps your backup after a file disappears from your computer. Miss the second clock, and the first one doesn't matter. Backblaze is the clearest example in the book. It deletes its backup of a file 30 days after that file vanishes from your machine. So if your laptop's offline for over a month, or your drive dies and you don't reconnect it fast, your whole backup can quietly age out from under you. The last one, and it's another general principle, a version you can't actually download in reasonable time is pretty weak recovery, full stop. It doesn't matter how many versions a service keeps if pulling one back takes all night. Carbonite is probably the best example here. In my testing, the actual download of a restore was brutally slow, well over an hour for a 5 gigabyte test file every single time. I've timed it across multiple years of testing, and it's never really gotten better. So here is the bottom line. And let me give you one pick per situation, then you can grab the full chart and essentially decide for yourself which provider to sign up for. Now, if you want the best free tier version history, it's Phylon. Hands down. Unlimited versions, forever, on a free plan, encrypted. Nothing else comes really close. Just remember the trade-off. Since every version eats your storage space, that free 10 gigabyte plan fills up faster the more you lean on it. So do a little manual cleanup now and then you should be good to go. Need backup rate history with real point-in-time recovery? Then CrashPlan is a good headliner. A saved version every 15 minutes plus the as of any date restore. And well, that puts it at a level above everything else I've seen. But you've got 2 strong alternatives as well, which is iDrive. That gives you point-in-time snapshots off your storage quota, free on every plan. And Backblaze's forever option keeps every version for pennies a gigabyte, and any of the 3 will really save you in case of disaster. Just want something solid and mainstream? Well, Dropbox for the cleanest restore, maybe you saw earlier, or Sync.com if you want unlimited versions built into the standard plan with no add-ons to buy, ready to go. And if you're already in the Microsoft ecosystem and you want to stay there, OneDrive's whole account rollback is a great safety net, and Mega's 100 version count is a solid free tier option too. And the ones to avoid for version history specifically, well, I mentioned them in the beginning: NordLocker, Degoo, and iCloud. Those are the 3. Keep no real rollback at all. Nothing else in the lineup is that bad. If you're on iCloud right now, please don't assume it's protecting your edits, because yeah, as you see, it truly isn't. And one more thing, and I know some of you are thinking it, a local copy or a NAS box at home is the smart offline leg of the proper backup plan. So keep a copy somewhere in the cloud is good, but keep another copy somewhere the cloud can touch is even better. I actually did a video recently explaining the 3-2-1 backup principle, so check that out if you're interested in local backup and how to set it up and why it's important. So for everything cloud side, this is how 23 services actually stack up. The full 23 provider version history chart is down in the description box below, so grab it. It's the honest version of every number I basically just walked you through. So do me a favor, the next time you save over something that matters, I want you to already know your service kept the old copy. And if this video got you there, obviously hit the like and subscribe if you want more breakdowns like this one. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.